Welcome back. Next, we're going to take a look at cropping, resizing, and rotating within Photoshop. Now, there's a few different ways about going about cropping an image. And the first thing we'll need to do is we're going to need to open an image. So I'm going to go File, Browse and Bridge. And let's begin by looking at Tulip JPEG. Let's just double click on that. It'll open in Photoshop. And I'm going to select my crop tool. Now C is the shortcut for your crop tool. And again, I can hold down Shift C to cycle through the different crop tool options I've got. Or I can just click and hold down on the crop tool in my toolbar. And you'll see there's the crop tool, perspective crop tool, slice tool, and slice select tool. Today we're going to mainly focus on just the crop tool and the perspective crop tool. So select crop tool, and what you'll see appear around your image is a bounding box. And you see these little handles appear on the bounding box that when you hover over them you get your double arrow, and that double arrow allows you to either bring it down or up. You can come in from the corners, etc. In the options panel you can select presets of specific sizes. So a 1:1 is a square, 4:5 is an 8:10 crop, 5:7 is exactly that, a 5:7 crop. 2:3 is a 4:6 crop. 16:9, you can crop just the front image, different sizes, etc. So you can select your own, or select a preset, or you can create your own preset. I'm going to stick with a 5:7 preset. And you'll see 5:7 is listed here, and the 5 is the width, and the 7 is the height. So it's width by height, and you can switch easily by just clicking the little arrows in between here. You can clear your presets by just clicking the clear button. That'll bring you back to just a custom crop, so you can go in and do whatever you want if you're wanting to be able to freehand a crop. And then you can also go back in and select a preset. Now, up at the very top up here, there's the ratio. That's just custom, like we had just seen. And then right below that is width and height and resolution. And this is what the crop tool used to look like before its overhaul. And in that you put in your width and height, and then you typed in your resolution. So 300 pixels per inch, 72 pixels per inch if you were doing something for the web, etc. Again, you can clear all of it by hitting the clear button. I'm going to go back to selecting just 5:7, and I'm going to switch to have 7 be my width, since this is a landscape image. Now right here is a tool that allows me to straighten. If my stem was crooked and I wanted to straighten my image, then I could go in and I can select my straighten option, and then I click and drag on what I perceive to be a straight line. This works great for buildings, bridges, etc. And the image is adjusted to straighten that. I'm going to undo that. Next to the straighten option, I've got this drop down menu as far as overlays. And right now the overlay, this grid pattern that you see on my crop tool, is set to the rule of thirds, and that's what you need to leave yours set at as well. But you can set it to a grid, a diagonal, a triangle, the golden ratio, the golden spiral. You can turn it on and off, auto show, always show, never show. And so you can select the different overlays that you would like to have. We're going to go back up, and please leave yours on rule of thirds. And the rule of thirds grid appears overlaid over the image within the crop box as well. Now, next to the overlay drop down is our settings for our crop tool. And you can use classic mode, and that will show an outline around the original image. Turn that off. If you want to show the cropped area, auto center your preview, which is what we have here. And enable crop shield means that grayed out area that's being cropped out, that's the crop shield area. And so by checking that, it grays it out for you, makes it a little bit easier to see, and you can adjust the crop shield opacity, and then you can select if you want it to match the canvas, which is this back area in your workspace when cropped out, or if you want to customize that. So we're going to leave that at match canvas. Make sure enable crop shield is selected. Opacity, you can go through and you can adjust yourself. Go ahead and set that to about 60. And make sure auto adjust opacity is checked. Now, next in the options bar is the checkbox for delete crop pixels. If that checkbox is selected, when you crop your image, you are going to be permanently deleting the area in the shield. If you leave that unchecked, then you go back and select the crop tool again. Your image that was cropped out, the shield part of the image, will reappear, and so you can recompose your image. For all assignments in this class, you are going to need to uncheck delete cropped pixels, and the default for Photoshop is to have that box checked. Alright, and so over to the right here is the reset. That will reset all these settings to the default. So if I were to click that, you'll see this 7:5 disappear. Okay, sets it back to ratio, and the entire thing is selected. Now, I'm going to go ahead and reselect 5:7, switch it to landscape, and I'm going to click and drag in the sliders, and I want to perfectly center the tulip here, and my grid allows me to see exactly where the tulip is being placed. If you're not going to place something in the rule of thirds, then centering is sometimes a good option. Now, when I say the rule of thirds, what I'm referring to is this tic-tac-toe grid that's placed over the top of the image. And usually you would want to place your subject, if it's a person, their eyes or face are going to be placed where these lines intersect. So right there, or right there, right here, or right here. Centering the image is as easy as placing it directly in the middle in the center opening here. Now, the rule of thirds gives you 9 equal-sized openings. And so to apply my crop, all I have to do is I can click the checkbox up here. I can hit the return or enter key on my keyboard, or I can just double-click in the image with my mouse or stylus, and that will apply the crop as well. Commands or Control Z to undo, and we'll do that one more time. Go ahead, click on the tulip. Alright, now I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. Going to center the tulip, and then I'm going to click the checkbox up here to apply my crop. First, making sure that I have the delete cropped pixels unchecked. Check the box. And there we go. Now to undo that, all I have to do is go to my history, and I can just go back to opening my image since that is the only change that I had made. Alright, so let's let you practice this. If you would please go ahead and open Bridge, browse in Bridge. You're going to go to your Chapter 6 folder. And within the Chapter 6 folder, you are going to select the yellow orchid image. So go ahead and open Yellow Orchid. And I would like for you to select the crop tool. And then you are going to select 4x5, which is an 8x10 crop. You're going to have to switch that to the 5x4 because, again, width comes first and then height. And you need to bring your crop in so that the orchid flower is filling almost the entire image from top to bottom here. And you are going to center the orchid onto your grid and make sure that you don't crop out any of the stems. So whatever size that you need to set your handles, remember, all you have to do is click and drag your handles. If I pull down too far, you can see where I've got no background up there. So I've got to be careful about that. And so your stem is essentially going to be touching the outside here. See how the corner of my inner part of my orchid, my stamens, and then right here is the area that I need centered. Go ahead and hit enter to apply your crop. Return on a Mac. Command Shift S or Control Shift S to save as. This is going to be 6A, your last name, Yellow Orchid PSD. Place it in your Chapter 6 folder. Click Save, and now you can close that out. And that's just the general overview of the basic crop tool.